This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pointy Bakery. If you're located in the Pointy area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pointy Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. All right, before we get into the main topic this week, which is Doctor Strange, I was thinking about this all week, and I guess we kind of talked about it before the podcast, but like how education is really essential for bringing up. So like, how do I put this? So like, when you're like young, right? You build your foundational knowledge, and then you just build upon that knowledge over time, right? Essentially, you get what I'm saying? So like, everybody thinks that you can re-educate somebody at a different point in their life, but in order to change the trajectory of somebody that's already moved in that direction for the majority of their life, it's very difficult. Like it's like you have to want to change your education, right? And like listening to Elon Musk on his podcast talking about how death is super necessary because it makes way for new ideas, new generations, right? If we didn't die out, we wouldn't change our perspective on things, right? So taking this all the way back to the Native Americans, because I read this, like I read that book this week, and how it mind blew me that if you ask somebody like where are Native American people from, you know, you're like where are they from? You would say like from Canada,
right?
But
or America,
or America, yeah, Canada or America,
the Americas, yeah,
because that's primarily where it happened, right? Where we first, the indigenous people, right?
The indigenous.
I don't want to be like, especially now after reading the book, I don't want to be, I don't want to use the wrong terminology, because now I'm like, oh, you guys should really be more respected, because I didn't think about this before reading the book. And we essentially just like kicked them off their own land. We took over, and then we created a country on their land. And then if you say where are Native Americans from, or indigenous people or Aboriginal people, it's not Canada and the US. It's like they were actually from no land because they didn't believe in land ownership.
Yeah.
Western people created land ownership.
Yep.
And then from there, we created the idea of like, you're not a part of this country, because countries are just fictitious things that are made up. Like the Aboriginals, the natives, they knew that land cannot be owned. You just live on the land. You live in harmony with the land. Yeah. Right. And then over time, industrialization, capitalism, essentially colonialism fueled this idea of climate change and all the systemic problems that we see now, you know? And it's like, but my question is, how do you change that?
What? That's a very broad question. What do you mean by what are you changing?
Like how everyone's like, oh, systemic racism is a big thing right now, right?
Okay.
How do you change systemic racism if you're in a system that's fully created by racism? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's almost like a weird paradox. How do you escape something you are?
How do you break
of?
that foundation? Is what you're saying?
But you can't break.
It was built on that foundation.
But what you just said is, how do you break that foundation? You require breaking that foundation. But if we rely so heavily on the foundation, how can you break the foundation?
Yeah, too many people rely on the current foundation.
So do you even know what you're talking about when you're saying that we should change systemic racism? Not you. I'm saying like people when they're arguing for it. Right?
Well, you'd have to. Depends on what you mean by what change do you want to do.
So like the big thing right now is diversity and inclusion, right? And like I'm in these, but see, this is the crazy part. So during our time, there was no such thing as diversity and inclusion.
Okay.
No, like
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Like there was no like
I don't remember anything like that.
homosexuality.
Sure.
There was no like. Do you remember us ever learning about residential schools?
No.
No, right? You heard about it though.
No, I didn't hear about it
Oh,
before.
you didn't even hear about it?
Yeah,
okay,
I knew about this stuff.
Until more recently. So
yeah.
Right. Okay. So this is why it's weird timing for all these things. So I read that Native American book, and then one of my cousins asked me like, "How do you change high schools in 3 years?" Right? Like, what would you like to see? And I was like, "Learn about history, because if you learn where you've come from and what makes up our system, you're better educated to like change it for the better."
Right.
Right. And the whole notion of diversity and inclusion right now, it seems like a impossible or like a moot point to me. Like nobody can accomplish this if you don't even address the fact that Native Americans aren't going to be a part of that diversity and inclusion. They cannot be, because you're creating a solution to a problem within a system that oppress these people naturally. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, so if you want to be diverse and inclusive, sure, like add more Native Americans to your system, add more Asians, Blacks, Hispanics into your system. We'll have full-on diversity and inclusion. But at the end of the day, you have to remember that this whole system was built off of racism, colonialism, and capitalism. So at its core, it has these vilifiable traits, which aren't even vilifiable. That's just how we are as human beings. But right now we're trying to be super woke and be like, oh, everything must burn, because, you know, they're taking down statues of colonialists.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I get it now, you know. And before I'm like, well, that's just a part of your history. So why are you so angry? But then reading about this, I'm like, oh, I get why you'd be angry.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm like, if you want to tear down the statue, sure, but realize that that's just that's superficial.
Yeah.
Maybe tear down your own house. Maybe tear down your job. Maybe maybe leave this country and go live on an island. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're trying to be holier than thou within a system that is something you innately hate, but you don't even realize you hate the system. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's built on the foundation of everything you hate.
It's built on that, but through that. So, for instance, for Black people to who from slavery to freedom, right?
Okay, yeah.
Came from the same system.
Yeah, totally.
So you have to use the system,
right? Yes,
to your benefit in a way. All right.
Right. No, for sure. But until you can acknowledge that,
I think you need to know what the problems are.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're just arguing about a lot of things that are actually not a real issue, I think you have to know what the actual issue is. If you understand what the actual issue is, then you can actually try to do some changes.
For sure. I agree with you. But at the same time, it's like, don't you also have to celebrate the system because it got you to where you are?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of that too.
But then how can you have full diversity and inclusion if you don't even celebrate the system? But if you celebrate the system, it makes it seem like you're being hypocritical to your initial point of the system's evil. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like,
I get what you're saying. Yeah, they're saying that the system's evil, but then you're using the system to change the system.
And it's like you're still living in the system, though. So you're benefiting off the system.
Yeah.
So why are you angry? Right? It's not even. But if you understand that, like, so, okay, another thing about history right now is like, if you look at, we're obsessed with like gender right now, right? Sexuality and gender. It's like a hot button issue. Like, oh, I'm like non-binary. I identify as a they. I have no gender. You know, I'm heterosexual. I'm homosexual. I'm gender fluid. I'm bisexual. All this stuff, right? And like, only in this system, this like colonialist, capitalist, essentially Abrahamic, because that's where it all began. Like, you built this. You built colonialism off the back of Abrahamic religions, Christianity.
Yeah, like you mean, yes, that's the colonial thinking, yes, to go around and spread
Right.
The religion.
And in that religion, it's like man should only lay with the women. Right. So that's why right now we're having this like fight against gender norms and stuff, right? But if you actually look at history, not just colonial history, the Greeks, the Romans, they were super gender fluid and like sexuality wasn't a big deal to them.
Yeah.
Native Americans, same thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say just for Greek or Romans. It's even further than back than that. Like even
Hinduism.
in ancient India too.
Yeah, so exactly. So like if you think about that, then it's like why is the system suddenly trying to accept all these things when it was already there before? You know, it's because it was based off of colonial / Christian doctrine,
Right.
right? So it's like, if you don't understand that, how can, wait, in understanding that, then you see how ridiculous the system is, but we benefit from the system and we live in the system. So you see what I'm saying? It's like it's so convoluted. It's like it's like you're arguing for nothing. You're arguing for you don't even know what. Like why is sexuality a hot button issue right now? But we've already solved that millennia before.
Right.
Oh, because we're in a colonial Christian system. Okay, so then the system's evil. Oh, but it's not evil because you love technology. You're listening to us through an iPhone, which you needed the system in order to
generate those things.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, why are we arguing?
Well, I think it's an ebb and flow thing. Like
People just want to argue about something.
It's,
you know what I mean?
It's cyclical. Yeah.
But when you understand all these things, you end up just going towards acceptance, which is just like, oh, it is what it is. This is just how the world works.
Which is all I think what they really want.
But they don't even know it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, but that's exactly the point. It's like, if you just accept it, like, yeah, you're angry. Okay, cool. I just won't associate. This is kind of like how, I don't know how you choose to live your life, but like, there's certain angry people around us, like even in our like apartment. I won't name that person, but like they don't upset me. I'm just like, okay, that's just a part of who you are. I'm just not going to associate with you. I'm going to be polite and that's it. You know what I mean? But like, if you get caught up in like, oh, why are they this way? Oh, they should change. Blah, 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 blah. It's like wanting to change people. You don't realize that you're just projecting your own perspective onto someone else, which is what we've all been doing.
Yeah.
Which is what broke the system in the first place, right? A projection of perspective. Colonialism, capitalism is their perspective being projected around the whole world. Like Native Americans, you guys are beasts. Like you need to be educated, right?
Yeah.
Like, you need to be civilized.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you just accepted them, like, oh, okay, these people are living here. How do I create a harmonious system? Like, let you guys live while we live. That's the true diversity inclusion right there, which is accepting people as they are.
Yeah.
But what the people championing diversity inclusion are just projecting their own perspective, which is a half full perspective on other people. So you're doing the exact same thing that you don't like. Do you see what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
It's like hypocritical and like just convoluted because they don't understand the real issue, which is like, this is just human beings moving in human being ways.
Yeah, I just want, generally it should be just about, I just want you to understand what I'm going through. That's what it is.
Which is all real diversity inclusion is. It's like, understand that, there isn't very much representation of this culture and maybe we should include more people. Okay, cool. Like,
I feel it is that. I feel like in the general sense it is that. You're going to always hear pockets of people fighting for their things, right? Those things may come up seems like that's the main thing. But in general, population-wise, it's more about
accepting.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a good
like within that community. Like there will be the ones who talk a lot or like push for their ideas.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. There will be the ones that seem to be
the inclusive people.
Yeah.
But the people that are really championing diversity inclusion are moving through actions, not words. Is what you're saying? Like they're not being loud about their opinion.
Yeah.
They're just doing their inclusion. But that won't change the world. That's the thing. No, but the people that are shouting.
No. Everyone's in a different level, country-wise, right? So it's like
right, for sure.
It's country by country. It's not a world thing.
But the people shout, or like that won't even change the country, because the people that are shouting for it, they're more interested in the shouting than the actual actions of doing it.
Yeah, I think it's more of the frustration. They just feel like no one was listening.
Interesting. So you think it's more based on like the people that you see who are like championing diversity and inclusion? Is more just like
they've got to a breaking point that no one was listening.
Right. But then there's also
and then that's like it's like the only thing I can do is shout it out. Right.
Right. And hope that something will change.
Yeah, like I don't think anybody goes out wanting to shout it out. I'm sure there's you want to talk about your experiences to people, but no one was listening. Like no one was getting it.
Yeah. I understand.
And then that adds on to the frustration.
Yeah. That's true. They haven't fully. I would say they haven't fully understood the situation. That's why they're shouting.
That's also true too. Yeah, because you have to. I can understand that. Yeah, that they.
Because if you understood, like, okay, this is just how the world operates, and then people are just be like, oh, well, you're just being too passive about it. But it's like, no, we really can't change towards the people.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that everyone's perfect in knowing everything, or if they've done their best way of bringing about their situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're only to the best of our own knowledgeable ability, right? So like we can always keep learning.
So you think that they think that they're knowledgeable
at that time? Yeah, maybe like
that's true. I see that point. Yeah,
people can go through those experiences and shouting out, and you see the inaction or the actions to that, or like, you know what I mean. And then from that they learn it again more. Maybe, you know, it's always a continuation of learning. Like you're going to do certain things, but it doesn't mean that you're going to end up always going to be that way.
Yeah.
Through experiences, you end up changing.
Yes. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Like we're a continuous work in progress.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, fair point. I'm really trying to link this to yoga. Like even though it's like it sounds like we're talking about education, I'm really my thought process is that because like in yoga there's liberation and realization, right? You have to liberate yourself to the problem, which is what I feel like a lot of people who are screaming are doing.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, oh, there's an injustice. Let's just solve this problem. You're trying to liberate yourself from the issue, but then realization is more about understanding the issue. And when you push to that point, you become like, you become accepting of things being how they are.
Yeah.
Like it is what it is, right? And then even in, so aside from yoga, there's the Christian example of you become conscious, right? You eat from the tree of knowledge. You become conscious to all these problems. But then in order to go back to the Garden of Eden, which is peace, you have to accept that, like you have to become super conscious and be like, oh, these are just worldly problems that will forever be here. Do you understand?
It's a continuous cycle. That's how I view it. Like,
but I think you could hit a point where you just accept everything as it is. Like I feel like I'm at that point.
I'm
where
talking
I'm
about.
Like, man,
I think as an individual you can, but I mean in the general sense of population. Like it's just
right. Okay, yeah.
As an individual sense, but that's not everyone. But everyone's accepting at different times.
Right. But do you think it's possible to have an enlightened society? Like because everyone's talking about, I want to be an enlightened society. You think it's possible to have like an enlightened society where everyone accepts everything as it is?
Might be for a time, but I won't last
forever.
It won't last, yeah. I don't think it'll last forever. I feel like that's why we always see cultures come and go.
Right, cyclical nature of the world.
Yeah, that's just how
everything rises and falls.
Yeah, everything.
But see, even understanding that, it's
dies and gets rebirth.
So maybe it's not a whole civilization, but a pocket of individuals who are understanding this perspective.
Yeah,
you know. like in like the Order of the White Lotus in Avatar, which is like the pursuit of truth above everything, right? You have these like select individuals that know how things actually operate.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like pompous and arrogant, I guess, to be like, we know how things operate, but it's not really knowing how things operate, just understanding human nature to the point of like everything. There's nothing weird about this situation.
Yeah.
You know, because I hear it all the time. Like comedians are like, their hot jokes right now for comedians are like gender jokes, right? Like Dave Chappelle got attacked on stage for his transphobic jokes. He got attacked by a transgender individual, right? But like why is that so heated right now? It's because nobody understands that that's all just humans being humans.
Yeah.
You know,
It depends on which transgender you talk to. It seems like the younger generation is a bit more mad at the
angry
world.
Yeah.
But I think there's like an older generation of the transgender community that are a bit more understanding of the current world. Like understand.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It depends on.
Probably because they like had to fight for their rights. You know, they're like they went through real suffering, whereas more.
But there's real problems too that no one's acknowledging too, right? It's like the bathroom issue, for instance. Like,
yeah, why is that a big? Okay, you know my cousin. All right, so one of my cousins was like, they were like, oh, in 3 years, what they could do is have gender neutral change rooms for people who are transitioning and they don't know where they lie in the spectrum. Blah blah. I'm like, why are we dividing up so much? Our like our society? We're creating more in-group and out-groups.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, that's the transitioning change room. That's the boys' change room. That's the girls' change room. It's like Yorkdale, we have like gender neutral washrooms. We have like ones just for this. Like, it's just we're so obsessed with identification. But at the end of the day, nobody really cares. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you're straight, if you're gay, who cares?
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
That's true inclusivity and diversity. You know, if you want to actually say like, how do you make the world a more peaceful place? Just accept everybody as they are. But that includes hateful people.
Yeah.
There is no but in that statement, right? If you want true diversity and inclusion in this world, you need full acceptance of people who are also against diversity and inclusion. Okay, you just don't like it, cool. I'm just going to go over here, you can go over there, you know?
Yeah.
But this is why I'm saying like the issue is so confusing. Like hypocritical and confusing, because it's like, do they even understand what true diversity and inclusion looks like? It means accepting everything as they are.
Right.
Yeah, we did come from colonials. Cool. Like, but where are we going to go with that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
get what you're saying. I get what you're trying to
it's
say.
like, why are you guys getting so angry? Why are you guys loud? Like, stop being loud. Like, you don't like to do anything for fun? Really? We're just going to spend our whole day arguing over this issue? Oh, but, you know, like abortion right now is like a big thing. You're like, oh my God, now we're talking about abortion, bro. Like, just let them do whatever they want to do. Like, that's true acceptance, diversity, inclusion. We'll never hit that.
No. Yeah. We're always going to be arguing about something.
That's human nature.
That's human nature.
And if you understand that, then you'll just find acceptance and peace over everything. Agree? Like,
Yeah. I feel like most people do. Okay, there's always going to be.
But I don't know if they do. Like.
No, I mean,
maybe.
yeah, but you don't see. I don't think most people are out there like protesting. No, most people just want to live.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The people that are bringing up this issue is the few and the far between, because most people are just wanting to do their day to day. Like, I just want to get to A to B.
Yeah,
that's all. I
and
care
just
about.
go be with my family. Like, that's
exactly. And why can't we?
But most people do that.
Right. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Right. It's if it was
but those aren't the change makers, though. The change makers are the loud people.
Of course, yeah. But that's who's going to get noticed, right? That's just...
Right.
But majority of the people, what I'm saying is, they just want to live their life.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's a very fair point. Okay, so to go back to the Native American thing, because I just wanted to bring this home, that indoctrination, no, not indoctrination, it's like how can you have, if you want full diversity inclusion, doesn't everybody have to be represented at the table?
Mm-hmm.
But they have nobody representing them at the table. So it's like...
Right, like at a UN thing.
Right, or like even in the government of Canada. So it's almost like this idea of diversity inclusion is reserved only for people within the system.
The ones who accept the system, yes. So like you can have Native Indians in there, but the Native Indians have to be...
They have to give up their thing.
Yeah, they're joining the system in the sense of doing the voting, doing the legislative stuff, right? Like running for elections.
For sure.
So that means you're joining the system.
So like, we are, from our perspective, we already understand that true diversity inclusion is just acceptance. But like, I'm going back to the people that are arguing about, increasing diversity inclusion. But if you have no voice to air diversity inclusion within your system, like there's no representative of the Native American Party, right? Then if you don't go to your slowest buffalo, you know what I mean? Like, if on a team, like if we're on a team and we're trying to get to a point, there's an adage. It's like, you go to your slowest buffalo. The weakest link, you have to make sure that they come with, like, you have to support them enough, right? But who's paying attention to Native Americans? No one, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
So then you can have your diversity inclusion, but at the end of the day, you're going to come to this point later on when you think you're diverse and inclusive, realizing, oh, we actually aren't that, because we didn't even care about the people that aren't spoken for.
Right. That's so they're trying to figure out how to do it, but you can only do it within the system.
So you got to assemble. You got to give up who you are in order to achieve diversity inclusion. Diversity inclusion is only for colonialism.
Yeah, it's not all perfect.
No, but you see what I'm saying? It's like, it's confusing. It's like, but this is why I'm bringing it up, because it's like these arguments, they're kind of like brain teasers to me. When you say like, oh, it's not all perfect, it's like, yeah, but that's a realized perspective of being like,
this is all man-made systems.
Exactly, it's man-made systems.
Because that's what, like, there was things that were illegal before, now they're legal, right? That's what I mean by it.
Yeah, it's always evolving, changing.
It's always evolving and changing.
So what are laws then?
Yeah, laws are generally like things that were accepted, like as a society, right?
As a general society.
As a general society.
But who makes up the society? People.
Yeah.
And people are confused, right?
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't say like, that's why things change. No, I wouldn't say confused. People have different perspectives on different things, right? So.
Okay, fine. Yeah, all right. So people are conflicting on their opinion. Everyone's got an individual opinion.
Yeah.
So a law essentially is the loudest opinion, the most collectively agreed upon opinion.
Yes.
Right. But it might not be the correct opinion. Just because it's collectively agreed upon, we all believe that the world was flat at one point.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh, but then it changes over time. It's like, yeah, so if you understand even that point, so then you can understand that laws are ridiculous, right? Because they're always changing. So there's no such thing as a real law. So one thing that's illegal now will become legal later on. So humans are hypocritical by nature.
No, we keep learning. I guess that's what would it be that?
Oh, yes, but is it learning, or is it just the loudest people came into power now? See what I'm saying? It's like because if we agreed that laws really are.
No, I don't think it's more about the loud. You can say it's the loudest people, but I think the loudest people bringing.
Only the loud people change things.
No, I know. Yeah, it could be the loudest people, but they're bringing light to an issue that you didn't think about.
For sure. No, totally. But then, if you... Okay, well, first of all, if you're listening to this podcast and you've made it this far, then you know that your mind has the capacity to, like, think in that, like, that like difficult realm of hypocrisy. Because like when you start attacking these ideas, you have to break the foundation of what you believed before. But a lot of people hold on to their ideas as their identity. So if they don't agree with this, then or they're not willing to tackle this issue of like how hypocritical our ideas are and like our system is, then you're just one of those people that just will never change.
And maybe I bring it back. Yeah, we're all hypocritical. Yes,
but that's what exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, that was my tangent, but now I'm going to go back to so they're all hypocritical. Yeah. So if we're all hypocritical, then laws are ridiculous.
Yeah, everything is ridiculous.
Exactly. That's my point, and that's what all Zen people were talking about. Like they just laugh at society because they don't realize that it's just man-made things that are just
everything
confusing.
Is man-made. Oh yeah, of course.
It's man-made things.
Everything is man-made.
But if man-made things are hypocritical, like why do we need to always learn and grow? If we always need to learn and grow, that means that this law that's legal now might not be legal in the future. Yeah. And if that's true, then why am I going to pay attention to this law? I don't think it should be viewed from the lens of like laws, because laws mean you're breaking something that I'm telling you is bad. Like marijuana was super illegal before. Now we're like, oh, it actually has some health benefits. Oh, we'll actually bring it back. But the reason why it became illegal is because of propaganda. Right. If you look, we won't delve into that, but if you look into the history of marijuana, it was illegal. Like everyone smoked marijuana back in the day. Like Abraham Lincoln was smoking. It was hemp.
Yeah, I wouldn't say everyone, but sure.
But it was like
it was not illegal. There was no.
A lot of cultures used it though. Like
no, sure, okay, a lot of cultures used it. There was no like.
Just by its different name, like hashish is marijuana. That's all the same. But
variations of the plant, yeah, sure.
Yeah, variations of the plant, or just like names for the plant,
sure,
whatever. But like. So then, doesn't that make you question everything? So there is nothing set in stone.
And no, nothing is set in stone.
Right, but people will believe that it's set in stone.
Yes, that's the belief aspect of it.
And that's why I'm saying it's so... Like, we're just talking in circles. No, not you and I.
Oh, yeah.
It might sound like we're talking in circles because you don't understand what we're talking about, but people who are arguing for change are talking in circles because they don't realize that it's all ridiculous anyways. You have to look at your hypocrisies to realize, because when you look at your hypocrisies, oh, I'm being hypocritical. Oh, everyone can be hypocritical? Then you become more accepting.
But that's the point though, right? Like, you're living in a world that you want your way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, totally. Yeah. But that's what everybody wants, right?
Yeah.
But if you can... True diversity and inclusion is acceptance. Accepting the understanding that, oh, my views are hypocritical, your views are hypocritical. So just live your life in civility. So that's what I was going to get to. I don't think there should be laws. I think it should just be like civility. Like, you can do whatever you want in your circle. I'm going to do whatever I want in my circle. Yeah. Which would be ideal, right? But you know what the problem with that is? Resources. Because at the end of the day, we're going to run like, how do we work together? Who's going to get more money? That's the capitalism aspect of it. So the colonialism aspect is like, we're going to indoctrinate the world with our ideas. But then the capitalist is like, we live in a world with finite resources. How are we going to allocate those resources? You know, if allocation of resources wasn't an issue, we'd all live in Hawaii. Right? The best place in the world, right? So like, but you can't, because it's like, well, we have a population cap, that place will become overly populated, et cetera, et cetera. You know? So getting back to it, it's like, you cannot ever solve these problems because colonialism and capitalism are at the heart of everything we do. Colonialism being like, not in the Christian sense, but what you said in the car when you were driving to the movie, colonial is really just like you're colonizing an area. Yeah. With your ideas.
Yeah.
Right? Your structure.
Right.
Yeah. So there's no solution. What I'm trying to get at is this whole idea of like solving the world issues is almost ridiculous, because at its core, we are ridiculous. And we make up the world. Right? Because one person is just a person. And then you put like 100 people together, you can call it a society. You put 1,000 people together, it's like a civilization. You know what I mean? But at the core of it, it's just one person. It's just individual people.
Yeah.
Bumping around,
Yes.
trying to make sense of this whole thing.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where does that leave us? Like going forward, like peace and like.
Going forward, it is the way it is.
Right, exactly. That's hilarious because like that is what it is. What it is. It's like you can't ever fix this thing, so it is what it is.
Yeah, you can just do minor things that are only for the time being.
Yeah, and for your good.
Yes.
You know, like you said, people just want to live their lives.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
There's just a lot of hate when you start pushing your idea onto other people's, like your perspective onto other people's perspective. That's when hate begins. Because like, no, you're doing it the wrong way.
But it's going to continually happen though, right? Like,
yeah, it will continue to happen. Yeah.
Like I would say, like talk about like ancient India. Maybe their thinking was more open. Then other cultures came in, like colonizing.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Their cultures thought their culture is better than what you're thinking.
Exactly.
So that generation or the next generations become more like that. And then they see the differences or the clash of those things. And then we try to become more open again. It's cyclical.
Yeah.
It's again, it's like, and then from that, it's like, no, we want this way of thinking.
Yeah.
Again, we're back in the circle of colonizing and not colonizing. Like it's cyclical. We're just going to keep doing this.
Because once you achieve peace, once you hit peace, then somebody who's not at peace is going to want your resources. They're going to come in, take over, spread their ideas. Until you hit a structure of peace again, somebody else is going to come over and like destroy you.
Yeah. I mean, we're just creatures of nature.
Right. But like nobody thinks about it that way. Yeah. If you look into the Native American thing, it's like they put kids in residential schools to like educate them on why they're bad, right? I feel like this is their brilliance because they knew if we hit the children, then it doesn't matter about the parents. We're going to change the future.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, they're from their perspective, they thought they were right.
They did, yeah.
In teaching them about the Christian God. We're
going to save your soul.
Yeah. So they're coming from a perspective of trying to do good. But when you look at it at today's time,
it seems ridiculous.
This is like, this is ridiculous, right?
But that makes you wonder, like, what are we doing right now?
What is from the future that we're going to look at as ridiculous? Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like we're trying good, but it's not good at all.
It's what happens as a collective consciousness.
Yeah, totally.
And things change.
And educating the youth is like the only way forward. Because you know, the old people are going to die, and then the next generation will have a little bit of a switch, and then their children have a little bit of a switch.
Yeah.
You know, like why would, if you see a Native American in church today, that's straight indoctrination. They've lost their culture.
Depends.
Okay, why?
If they were born into it or if they chose to.
Let's say, well, it would be born into technically now, because somewhere, if it's now, I'm saying if you see them now. Yeah,
but there could be still like some Native Indians who end up choosing, or they don't really have.
Oh, they really believe like, oh, we can save our souls.
Yeah, maybe.
That's true.
Like you can have, story. That's what I'm saying. Like you can have certain people like that. You can also have people that were already born into it and been converted in that sense too, right?
Yeah.
Like the movie that I saw with the Native Indian thing, there was a clash between the grandma and the mom because the mom was raised within residential school and she was thinking about Jesus and things.
Oh, interesting.
And then grandma was like, no, who's Jesus?
Right. But that's what I was trying to say. It's like indoctrination one.
But what I'm saying is like, yes. But then there's people who stuck with certain Native Indian roots that may choose Christianity later on. So that's what I'm saying. It's like,
oh, I see.
Or other religions.
It's sort of like how I was born Catholic into that religion, but then now I'm really into like Taoism.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
That's through like education. So maybe along the line they realize like, oh, this person called Jesus has a lot of good things to offer. Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
But I don't know how many of those people exist.
Yeah, true. Yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a possibility. But there's also a possibility of going backwards too. Well,
they
not
might
backwards,
find their way back to
their
their spiritualization.
yeah.
Which is kind of what I find now. It's like we're celebrating culture and stuff.
Yeah, like seeing even the Norse myths trying to come back, or like the Greek myths trying to come back.
I don't know if that's a troll though.
No. There's an actual
real?
like an Odin temple.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right, it's like a little bit of that trying to come back, but it's going to come back mixed with.
Okay, but why does it sound archaic if you're like, oh, there's an Odin temple? We scoff at that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think we should.
Right, but if you're like, oh, it's a Christian temple, you don't scoff at that.
Yeah, but the thing is, we have to realize everything's a mythology.
Exactly, but if you understand that everything's a mythology, you understand that it's just a story. And what are stories? They're made up.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's going to be hard to hear for...
That's what I mean.
But yeah, think about it, right? Who are the two biggest population of religions?
Muslims and Christians.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
And to tell them that it's mythology.
Good luck. It's like... It's like... It's still built off of Abrahamic religion, so it's still technically the same religion.
Yeah.
The Muslims and
both
the
of them.
Christians.
Yeah, sure.
And the Jews are in that too, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jews are like a small community. That's what I'm saying. Like, as a population, those are the two big ones.
Yeah.
And if you tell them that their stuff is mythology.
Good luck. But if you say like, oh, the Odin thing, the Odin temple.
It's easy to accept those as mythology.
Yeah. It's like, that's ancient. You didn't know. You're pagan, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Pagan is the word for anything that's not Abrahamic. It is. I see you.
Is that what that means?
It is. Yeah. It just means non-monotheistic.
A non-monotheistic.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's only one monotheistic religion. Well, there's 3 Jews.
No.
Oh, what are the other monotheistic religions?
Sikh is monotheistic. Actually, even technically, Hindu is monotheistic. If you got to break it down, though.
You mean Brahma? It all comes from Brahma?
Yeah. Like
but I mean monotheistic in the sense that like, wait, Sikhs, who is their god?
God.
But what's his name? Like,
it's God. I don't know what
is it Allah? Like, because we call God.
I don't know what they call it. Bhagwan. I'm not sure what they call it. Like in their language.
All right, I'll have to look into that.
But they are
monotheistic. So I'd have to look into that because I feel like Sikhs are probably influenced by.
They are influenced
by the Abrahamic religions.
But yes, they're influenced with mix of Hindu and Muslim.
Oh, so there you go. There's your.
But they are
tainting right there. It's still touched by.
But they are monotheistic.
Yeah, but monotheistic.
But their stories are not connected.
Oh, okay.
Like the influence of the ideas, but they're not Abrahamic stories.
I see what you're saying. But the sheer fact that Abrahamic religions touched that and shaped it, I technically put that in Abrahamic as well, because you're influenced by it. But if it was independent, like if it was like from the jump they were monotheistic.
I don't know the roots. There's too much of the roots of
that's
them.
That's why I was like, I got to read into it, like historically.
But I'm saying, like, even with Hinduism, it's like you can see points of monotheism in there because the figure that
goes back to
it goes back to that. But like
so if you don't know what we're talking about, it's like Brahma is Brahman or Brahma. Brahman is the priest, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Brahma is the universe, essentially, and then from the universe created multiple different gods to help shape everything.
See, because it's like such an old thing.
But that's paganist, though, because there's
no.
Okay.
It is depends on how you want to explain it. So it's like they're not having multiple gods; these are images,
iterations of that one god.
Yeah, so it's still in a way of like a veneration, like you're going through that image,
right?
In a way to focus on God, right? Because you can have an image in your own head of what God looks like. Right, so everyone has their own individual image.
But they're all pieces of God, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the differentiation between Abrahamic religions. The only so there is nobody other than God. They're all just prophets.
No, yeah.
So they don't actually.
Those are people, though, right?
No, but that's what I mean about monotheistic, right? There is no avatar of God.
But in Christianity, they do have.
That's why they're hated. That is why. No, seriously. That's why. That's why the Muslims and the Jews don't like Christianity, because they create an avatar. But there should be no avatar. God is one. That's what monotheism is.
Yeah, but then it's anyways. There's a lot of things in that one. Yes, people have argued in multiple ways because even though they do that, they're also leaning toward, like, pointing towards Kaaba.
Oh,
so they have an image.
Yeah,
but it's not an.
But that's like.
But that's the same thing. How they're viewing Jesus or the cross is the same way they're venerating it. Like, but it's you're
Oh no! You're. Oh wait! I get what you're saying. Those are not. Those aren't God. They're symbols of God.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, but with Hinduism, when you're like, oh, it's monotheistic, it's like, but you still have like gods that people pray to, right? Like, I pray to Shiva. I pray to.
No, it's like yes, I understand what you're saying.
Supposed to pray to those things.
No. I understand what you're saying, but it's more earthly in the sense, like, okay, we're praying for this specific thing. So like, you want to have power before you go to war, let's just say.
Yeah, okay.
So you're going to pray to the part of God that's like where you can be ready for war.
Totally, yeah, I get what you're saying, but that is not mono. That's that's still polytheistic, because you've broken up God, right? With monotheism, the idea is like God itself is universally whole and cannot be broken apart. That's why there's a lot of hate between Muslims and Jews for Christians, because Jesus should just be a prophet. He is not the Son of God. Because if he's the Son of God, you've separated God, but there should be no separation of God. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's only
I know
one
what you're
God.
saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, but it depends on how you want to argue it.
Yeah, sure.
It's all theology.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all mythology.
Yeah,
it's all mythology.
It's like arguing Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's like, but also what I'm saying is, like, even though it's like Christian and Islam, even within that they have multiple like sects of different classes of Christians, different classes of Muslim religion.
Yeah, for sure.
So which already have different views. So these are all. It's all mythology. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, there is no real point in arguing any of these things. It's just, it's.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just a story that we tell ourselves.
That's very true. Well, I was going to try and bring it to Harry Potter, because it's like, why?
Like, I can view Superman
as a god. Yeah.
He would fit in the pantheon of all other gods.
That's true, yeah, for sure. Yeah. But that's... Nobody thinks of it that way. Because he's fictional character.
Yeah.
But you believe that...
But we think that something from 2,000, 5,000 years ago existed. But we never met them.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. This is a great segue into... Doctor Strange and Dragon Ball Z. I just want to bring up Dragon Ball Z really quick, because I've been watching it, and it's like to tie in the whole education of youth and ideas you believe in. I think that because I thought that Dragon Ball Z would have never held up over time, so that when I watch it, I'm like, oh, it's still really, really good, because they're teaching moral lessons, right, about like good character and stuff like that, right? But that's what was going around as kids. And then now you have something like Doctor Strange, which is like shoving diversity and inclusion down your throat, with like the main.
Well, but that may be the next generation.
They're trying to shape the next generation, because like, who's going to watch these things? Like, kids.
Yep.
Right? Dragon Ball Z, you're going to watch as kids, right? And I think that depending on where you come from, that's going to create the culture, because like Dragon Ball Z is a Japanese cultural system, and it upholds honor, respect, family values at the epitome of it. If you watch Dragon Ball Z now, you're like, oh, you guys are literally just talking about like being brave, being honorable, being humble, loving your family. These are all Eastern perspectives. And then you go to something like Doctor Strange, which is like, no, it's all about diversity and inclusion now. Everyone needs to be represented. And it's like, but as we talked about in the beginning of the podcast, like, that's just a confused system. You guys don't really know what you're talking about. Because true diversity inclusion is accepting everything, even the hateful people.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually ties in about like free speech for like Elon Musk. Like,
Yeah.
you know, what is real free speech? Free speech is like you can attack me if you want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so that was my tangent of Dragon Ball Z because I think that, you know, the Eastern values that they presented there hold up over time. And I think that, you know, it really shaped the education of the youth going forward. So now let's speak about Doctor Strange. Because I think that that's again shaping the future.
It is.
Right. And it's more telling of where we're headed because Doctor Strange 1 was amazing. Doctor Strange 2, as you said in the car, is like very Fast and the Furious like.
Yeah.
We're just going towards
But
mind numbing. Like, let me try and give you some lessons. Like the thing that Nora brought up where it's cool to have two moms as your parent. But why did you have to say, oh, my mom's? Who says that? My parents, bro. Like, if you don't
I
want
can
it to
see
be
that.
weird,
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I think it's more accepting if she said parents.
Yeah. Like, why'd you have to
And
shove
then
it down my throat, moms?
showing the two moms. Yeah.
Like, okay, now we're like, to create.
We have to redefine the word parent, not make a new word.
Exactly. And if you, that's more division, right? There's more gender bathrooms, right? It's like, if you just naturally making more things more inclusive would just be adding things to the definition.
Yeah.
Like parents can mean two moms, but why'd you have to say moms? Like you're really trying to shove it down my throat is what I felt. It's like, it's a re-education system.
Yeah.
You know, like why did Doctor Strange get 90? Made no sense. But it was because it was tapping into all the things that we find so egregious about our current system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
or they want that world where everything is
perfect.
Yeah.
But against whose definition of perfect? See what I'm saying?
Well,
like
Disney's definition of
perfect, right? So if there's somebody setting the rules for the game, which is Disney, like, okay, well, real diversity inclusion means this. And then you're educating us to it. It's like the real power is held by Disney now. Whereas if you just accepted everything, that's more universal. Nobody owns full acceptance. You just accept it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that movie was, like, it's kind of like a depiction of where we're headed, especially because it got such a high rating. I'm like, oh, this is how people are thinking right now, which is like, I don't know, just entertain me.
Yeah, I think we're in that cycle again of movies that are not
good, or just like they're
I think they're looking at it. It's just to be trying to make the most of the audience happy rather than making
okay, I see
the select few, right? Or like they want to have as much of the population,
and by having the most population. But how is that true? Because remember we were talking about the movie can be played in
those are certain countries, but I feel like you're gonna make the most money in
Western nations.
Over time,
Yeah, true. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Like, or they would have to cut scenes out, like if it was for China, because China is a big market.
They did that actually. Saudi Arabia. They said they cut out the.
But Saudi Arabia isn't a big market.
Oh, okay.
Like China is a bigger market, right?
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, true.
They probably they've done it for China. Like some of the movies, they've done that.
Yeah, they chopped at the scenes. Yeah. Actually, this is actually super telling because as we were talking about this, you said China, and I thought about Immortals.
Oh yeah,
that was ultra diversity inclusion. They had a deaf person. They had like a Spanish person. Like they're trying to make it really like Marvel. Kind of seems like the not the Karen. What is that thing? It's like.
Well, we can see the changes.
Like,
you can see the change that's been happening through society, and you can see that in the movies of Marvel. Because generally,
Marvel, but not DC.
No, because they're trying to be the bigger. They're trying to grab the bigger audience, right?
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Yeah. Okay.
So, when generally when you look at movies, you see what was happening in the time of that society at that time.
For sure. Yeah. Okay.
Right. It gives you a glimpse of it. So it's like in the beginning of Marvel, like you had all these things, but they were all white superheroes.
Yeah, okay.
right? And now you're trying to be more diverse and trying to add.
But it's like, why are you going to be all right, no,
That's what's happening in society, and they're trying to like go along with that too, because that's what's going to cause them to have more audience, right?
Yes. And I think that, like you said, remember you're like, oh,
but it takes
like,
away from the story at times.
For sure.
Yeah.
But remember how you said, like, there are people who just want to live their lives, and then the people that are championing for diversity and inclusion, they're just like, they're few and the far between. They're just really loud. Like the loud people, you know, the protesters, right? Marvel's kind of like the protester in this situation.
In a way, yeah.
Because they're like, look at all this good we're doing. Oh, look, we have all blah, 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 right? But DC, I feel, is like the one that's just trying to live their life, because they did do diversity and inclusion. Catwoman was black, and she was a woman empowered. She was a badass.
There's ways,
but they didn't shove it down your throat.
Yeah, there's ways of doing it without, like, yeah, as you said, like, why are you saying moms?
Yeah,
just
parents, bro.
And then we can see
that.
Yeah, we get to see that you have two moms.
Yeah, we're like, okay, cool. That is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I
know what you're saying.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, like it's like, okay, I'll accept
but
it.
I think
you don't need to shove it down my throat, bro.
Yeah, there's two. I guess that's what I'm saying. You can have diversity, which is, like showing it to you without spoon feeding it to you.
Yes. I
think what Disney's doing is spoon feeding it to you.
Okay. So to circle back to the beginning of our conversation, I feel like Disney has become like the loud and the confused. They're trying to appease to everyone, but they've confused themselves. Whereas like DC, they're addressing all of these issues without having to spoon feed it to you, without having to shout it at you.
Yeah, I think that's what, but it requires a bit more thinking, where the other one doesn't.
Exactly, and that's what being loud and confused. You did like a little bit of Google research, and you're like, wow, we should tear down these colonial statues. Wait a minute. Do you realize that the system that you're living in is benefited from colonialism? So maybe don't tear down the statue just yet. Educate yourself to how this thing got here in the first place, and then make your decision. And I feel like that's what DC's doing.
DC, yeah.
They're like, okay, we're looking at the situation. We're just going to act. We're not going to shout at you. Which is the best way to do it. It's like, in order to change the world, be the change you seek. Just live out the values that you believe you should uphold. Like, you know, live by a code, die by a code. You know, but don't tell me how to live my life.
Yeah,
or like directly. The colonial.
Like, you don't need to spoon feed it to me. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. No, but not just that, but like, if you look at the idea of colonialism, like we talked about earlier in the podcast, is like, colonialism is like the colonizing an area through like your ideas and your way of life.
Right.
So you are becoming the new colonial if you try and shove it down my throat. Whereas just be the change you seek, and then the world will work itself out, or it won't. Like,
yeah.
But the people that went to go watch that movie, like, that's that little pocket. You know what I mean? But Disney's trying to get everyone in the market, which is like, it seems very colonial in that way.
Yeah, that's why I think it's just like there's going to be a point of diminishing returns, I feel like.
Yeah, okay.
It might seem like this now.
Which is what we're experiencing. We hate it now. We're like, oh, you're trying to be too PC, politically correct. That's the word I was thinking about.
Yeah.
SJW, that's the other one. Yes, SJW PC. Marvel's becoming too SJW and PC.
Yeah.
Whereas DC is just living, like we're espousing we're demonstrating through actions the traits that we'd like to see.
It all depends on the philosophies of
the company. Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, at the end of the day,
Disney is very open.
It's very loud. I wouldn't even say open.
No, but like I feel like their community is a bit more open, but they have now a bigger voice, right? They can be loud. While Warner Brothers they have a different way of thinking. So it's like
yeah, for sure.
So you can see the different personalities of the companies.
Yeah, true. Yeah, for sure. And they said like, you know, DC's going to go down that Joker style rabbit hole, more serious. I feel like Disney's dead to me now, or like Marvel's dead to me. I'm really not looking forward to it. I was really hopeful for Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I know.
But then the way this one played out, I was like, oh god,
Yeah.
even this got
like
tainted.
this is just talking about the philosophy of it. It was not that good, but like
Let's actually just get into the movie now. So
the,
what do you think of the movie?
was just not good.
It was not good at all. It's like, I mean, like my sister and your brother liked it.
They seem to have liked it, but it's like there was bad CG.
Oh yeah,
It was really bad CG.
I
in
thought
this.
that was me from the beginning. I was like, okay, am I tripping? This CG looks terrible.
Yeah.
And then when you said it at the end of the movie, I was like, oh thank God. I thought I was the only one that
I
realized.
I could tell they were CG. They focused more on, I feel like, just the monsters. The monsters look all right as a CG.
Okay.
But like the other things, where it was like human stuff that were CG, you can tell. That's CG.
Yeah. When Wong got like hit, and then you could tell Wong was a CG character.
Yeah.
What was it? The PG/R-rated aspect of the movie.
They couldn't decide which way to go.
Yeah, so they were trying to make everything like, it seemed very PG in the very beginning, but then we started killing monsters. I guess that's okay to see. So they just went straight R-rated. He like ripped the eyeball out of the monster, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. I thought that was.
I was like, that's an R-rated move, bro. But it seems like a PG movie. What's going on?
Yeah,
but see,
it was that tentacle thing, dude. It kind of reminded me of Suicide Squad, but it's like
or when
like a starfish
thing exploded his own head.
Oh yeah. Like they were trying to go R, but not. But then like
Not
trying to be funny.
R. Yeah,
but not
that,
too funny.
But that speaks to the confusion again, the SJWPC confusion. Like the you want change, but what change do you want? You know what I mean? It's like you're just as confusing as the beginning, us trying to unravel what true diversity and inclusion meant at the beginning of this podcast is as confusing as this movie was when you're trying to land either P, G, or R. You're like, what do you want here?
Right.
It made no sense. Like remember when Doctor Strange fell on the fence, and then you could see like the fence had gone through his body, and his body was just hanging there. You're like, that's an R move, bro.
Yeah.
And then they jump to like the main character being all happy. All right, so this is a PG movie. What's going on?
Yeah, I think it's
Confusion. Like you're trying to appease everyone, but in appeasing everyone, you appease no one.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lie, because freaking audience scores 90%. Like, what are we talking about here? But that just shows you, like I was saying, the mindset of the populace right now. We're all just confused. Like, nobody thought this was a weird movie.
I think it's that's what I'm saying. It's like, why do people like the new Fast and the Furious
movies? Yeah. Those are just, well, I mean, those aren't trying to be PC. They're just dumb. They're just like, let's just go on the
But
ride.
that's what I'm trying. Like, there are parts of this movie that are just, how ridiculous can we get?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
To fool the audience.
It was a bad take. I mean,
my only hope is Taika Waititi on Thor.
Yeah, sure.
That's the only thing that I have some, because I liked the guy. I like the director, so that's it. That's mainly the reason. But I think since after Thanos, we haven't liked any of the Marvel ones.
Yes. Didn't it get purchased around that time?
What?
Marvel got purchased by Disney.
That was a long time ago.
But like, which arc? I'm saying.
I think in the first arc.
Oh, really?
This is before
Iron Man.
Yeah, like around that time. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know the exact date. I'm not sure if it was from. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The first Avengers was under Disney, I think.
No, but okay. So, but if it's the first Avengers, they obviously had the storyline already written. So Marvel's probably like, we'll just finish the storyline off, then we're going to take over. I mean, Disney's like, we'll let you finish the storyline.
No, it's been Disney for a while.
No, but what I'm saying is like, it didn't get purchased till like you said Avengers, right? So it's like,
I don't know. I don't want to say that. I'm just saying I don't know, but I know it was very early on.
Okay. Well, maybe the writers like presented this thing, and
it's a new person that's in charge of this.
Oh, so that's why it switched?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it was somebody else before. That was involved, but now it's somebody else.
Okay.
Like, I don't remember the name.
So it was like a leadership change.
There's a leadership change, I believe.
Okay, so that makes sense as to why.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, I can accept that then. Like,
I forgot
that
his
makes
name
a lot of
though.
sense.
Yeah, I know Kevin Feige, but I think that's maybe the new one.
Okay.
I don't know the old. I don't remember the old one, or if it's. Hopefully, it's not the same.
So that would explain why it seems like there's been a drastic 180 since since the Thor, since the Thanos.
Yeah, yeah. It's somebody else who's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the golden age of Marvel is gone. Like that's when we were really on board, but I just can't see unless they have new leadership going forward. I just can't see this going in a
Or
positive
it's
light.
like maybe Kevin Feige is still in charge, but it was somebody else who's leading the thing. I think.
Okay.
Since October 2019, Kevin Feige is president of Marvel Studios, and since October 2019, Marvel's chief creative officer.
Oh, okay. Shifted.
Yeah, from 2019.
Okay, so that makes sense.
That was Thanos.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why we didn't like it after the Thanos?
Yeah,
movies.
I think it's a new direction.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because before up to Thanos, it was really good.
Yeah, really, really good. And then now it seems like Marvel's taking over. Oh, DC's taking over. So.
I think DC has a chance.
But I
like
also
to stick to these.
But I feel like DC's extremely niche because we really liked.
Because people got used to the Marvel. Marvel was the big thing, and then people have fallen for those characters.
Right. Because I remember after Shang-Chi, you and I were both like, that was a trash movie. Yeah. And then the one person that we were with, she was like,
it may have gotten
a good, amazing.
Yeah, it may have gotten a good score because of diversity.
Exactly. Yeah.
But not
I'm like,
because the movie was good.
But it's like, so you just want, yeah, exactly. So you just want your agenda to be heard? Like, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
So it's just telling of the times that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Because what is the Batman Rotten Tomato score? If it's not 100%, then there's something wrong here.
It wasn't 100%. It was like lower? 87 or something like that. From what I remember, audience score.
And Doctor Strange is 90.
At the time I checked, yes.
That's crazy. Yeah. I don't know where we're headed, man. But I think one thing is certain, that we are all confused as a society. And most people just want to live their lives. Even when I said, I don't know where we're going, man, you know when you're like, hey guys, like, is that, if there's like girls there and you say, hey guys, is that like gender shaming? Or you know what I mean? Like, we're becoming in a very like eggshell world.
Yeah. So 2009, Disney acquired Marvel, $4 billion.
Okay, but the leadership was still the same until recently.
Yeah, I'd have to look more into who.
No, you said the creative guy, right?
Yeah, he got involved in 2019.
Yeah, so
I don't remember the guy's name
or whatever. It's like.
Before that, I don't remember the guy's name.
Yeah. Strange times ahead.
Yeah, I'll have to see who the chief creative officer was before. Yeah.
Oh well. Anything else before we wrap this sucker up, Vish? Anything else about Doctor Strange?
This is really bad.
Yeah, don't watch that movie. I feel like, yeah, if you watched Moon Knight, it felt very much like this Doctor Strange thing. I had to stop after like episode 3 or whatever. I was just like, nah. We're too soft. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, this is a different guy. Avi Arad was. Oh no, my mistake. That's much more earlier.
The creative.
Yeah, but that was much more earlier back. Yeah, gotta do a bit more research into know, but yeah.
But that you did find.
But I know there was a change. That's why.
Yeah, the creative.
There's a new person like in charge. Yeah.
All right. If you want to check out free anime, Be sure to check out Zoro.to. Not a sponsor, but I wanted to plug that because of the Dragon Ball Z thing. I'm watching it now. They got like every anime series on there, and you can watch it basically like Netflix. And we were trying to figure it out, remember? We're like, why is it so perfect? Probably because of piracy.
Right.
I mean, like different, probably like based on a different country. Anyways, till next time, Zoro.to for all your anime needs.
Yeah, we should be sponsored for that.
Yeah, reach out to him. All right, till next time. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right, hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.